We do. I'm going to pull in Mike.
All right, we are going to reconvene our open session. We met in closed session and there is nothing to report out. So we want to welcome everyone on Zoom. And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by the students from Lindo Park, followed by a presentation from their principal, Tessa Green.
Hi, good evening. Let me get this up. Okay, I hope you can all see my screen.
We can.
Okay, great. So good evening, Board of Trustees, superintendents, and community members. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you this evening. I am the principal in the park, and we are home of the Soaring Falcons. So if we can please rise, stand as we are led by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mrs. Hilliker's class. Not sure if you had the chance to see their performance. However, they were invited to say the pledge by at the Board of Supervisors meeting recently. So please stand as we are led by Mrs. Hilliker's first, second, and third grade class.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job.
Thank you. You all did a great job. Thank you very much. We're now going to move to our proclamation. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, yeah. I think
I had to share that. That was pretty funny. So I would like to introduce to you our newest member of our Lindor Park family, our Falcon. So our Falcon mascot, he or she is still nameless. However, our students will take part in creating a school-wide voting process to create a name for our guy. We will update you as soon as we finalize a name, so stay tuned. August 19th, 2021. This is a day that we remembered as opening up our schools back from all of the COVID closures we've had recently. So we welcomed our students on campus to a full on-campus learning after a long year of distance learning, hybrid, back to distance learning, and full in person. We continue to have our masks on. With the excitement though on their faces, you could still see through those masks. They were greeted in the hallways by their teachers, and they continued to follow all safety protocols including the hand washing and hand washing station, mask wearing indoors, and social distancing as much as possible, keeping the safety of our students and our teachers at the forefront of our minds every single day so we can stay open. As you know, we implemented a Lindo Park school motto of the Soaring High Falcons. And as you can see here, the SOAR means something to us, means to show respect, to own our actions, to accept differences from everybody, and realizing our true worth and our potential in all of our students and our staff and our community. So the teachers and students have implemented our motto in their daily routines. So I wanted to share with you a quick video, and I hope this works, of what it means to be a Lindo Park Falcon.
At Lindo Park, we soar.
Soar high.
So how do you soar high at Lindo Park?
Because don't bully others and just help others. We play on the playground, we play fair, and we be kind to others.
To be respectful, responsible, and be safe.
Not running in the hallways and singing at them.
Soaring high at Lindo Park means that you are being a good leader at school by being responsible, making good choices, being safe all the time, and being kind to others.
I saw high by is being safe and trying not to move the equipment wrong, trying to follow all the rules. Like the teacher's telling you whatever, just do it no matter what. If you don't want to do it, you just have to do it. So you just have to.
At Lindo Park, how you can be a soaring falcon is to use your quiet sign at the table, to raise your hand before getting up, to take a knee when the whistle's blown, and to make sure you pick up all of your playground equipment when you're done playing every day.
Lindo Park Falcons soar high. You listen to the teachers and respect other students.
What's one way you soar high at Lindo Park?
Is to throw away your trash and ask them permission to use the restroom.
Realize your worth because you matter.
Coming to the office, please be quiet and respectful.
Have irons.
Go.
I treat others in a kind way.
One thing to be responsible is to not talk in class when your teacher's talking.
You do the right thing even when no one's watching.
You just have to do it the right way. You're responsible by taking a knee. We put the equipment away.
We are safe by keeping our kids in masks.
At Lindo Park, we soar.
That was made by our wonderful counselor, Miss Erica Garcia. So we want to say thank you for that. So now that we've seen what it takes to be a soaring high falcon, we also have our Lindo Park goals. And our ELA focus is to continue to focus on reading fluency and our comprehension. And our math focus is to continue to show growth in numbers and operations and our number facts. These are the two areas that we looked at as a team to determine what do our kids need this year and what do we really want to focus on. And our social emotional focus is to build meaningful relationships with students every single day. So soaring high through academics. These next couple of pictures that I want to show you, I walk around a lot throughout the day and in our classrooms. And I interact with these students, and I want to see how the teachers would interact with our students. And it's amazing to see how much dedication our teachers have to our kids, knowing that we've been hybrid and distance learning back and forth. But to see these teachers, how they interact with these kids is just an amazing sight to see. We started off opening an EAK classroom this October, where students were excited. This might have been their first time in a school setting, and they were learning a new language. I have Miss Nava, who's in the middle picture. She goes above and beyond for her students, and she's doesn't even hesitate to sit on the floor, sit with her students, to have rich conversations, dialogue, peer workings with other peers, building their vocabulary knowledge. This is on a daily basis in her classroom. And in the other photo, you have Mr. Spatafor's class, who pulls out his math manipulatives to teach fractions. It's peer with peer working in teams. They challenge each other, they teach each other, and they learn collaboratively. This little guy in Mrs. Bass's class, Dominic, she takes her classes out and has fun hands-on science experiments. This is where they're learning all about plants, life cycle, and seeds. The next one, the middle photo at the bottom, is Mr. DeRozier. He leads our garden community at Lindo Park. He takes the students to the garden and they maintain it. They water it, we grow fruits and vegetables, and they learn all about what it takes to run a garden. And then the top photo, this class has amazing rotations. I do have to say that this is one that I am extremely proud of, where he promotes cultural awareness in his classroom with learning about different cultures from around the world. This photo was taken when they were doing around the world in the holidays around the world. And the students led these rotations. The students had to learn about the country and what they ate and the clothing and the music and the literature. So he promoted that for his students to do peer on peer teaching. And in the next photo, we have our kids access high level of literature through novel studies during our 4th and our 5th grade universal access time. You know, such an example of them reading the Diary of Anne Frank. But one of our major focuses this year was looking at our professional learning development committees. And we wanted to dig deeper on how to help our students. How do we support our students, and how do we continue to achieve high academic learning at Lindo Park? So our focus was PLCing at Lindo Park. In the process, my team and I came together, and we needed to figure out a way that our teachers could meet every day with their grade level teams. So we created a schedule. So our teachers meet every single day for 30 minutes, while our students have a structured rotation schedule for them to attend specials daily. So our students go to art, they have a makerspace, they go to library, they have PE, and they also have recess. And the teachers, what they're doing is they have PLC during the day. So our teachers meet daily as a grade level to discuss student work. They look at data. They look at data towards our school-wide goals. And in that process, they have to answer 4 essential questions. What do we want our students to learn? How will we know if they've learned the content? What will we do if our students don't know it? And what will we do if the students already know the content? How will we push them even if they already know the content? How will we challenge our students? But before I go into our PLCs, I do need to take you on a tour of our specials, because this is the highlight for us. In our specials, we wanted to implement our student profile. We figured we need to add our student profile along with our specials to continue the growth of our students. So this is how we implemented them. Our school counselor, Ms. Erica Garcia, and our intervention teacher, Ms. Emily Oriel, provides weekly PBIS lessons using growth mindset to all of our students. And they continue to tie in our Care Deeply student profile. They meet with our students every day during rotations to enhance our SOAR motto and our PBIS lessons, empowering all of our students to make a difference every single day. Then we have our Soaring High with art. Miss Renee, our art specials are fun, they're unique, they're creative, they're engaging. Students are encouraged to use their creative juices, and they collaborate constructively with their peers and assume various roles and their responsibilities with a commitment to shared success in their art time. And in one of these photos here, the second and the third one right in the middle, is that these kids work together as a team to create our American flag after during our September 11th activity. They had a blast, and you can see by the smiles of their faces, they get to have 30 minutes of just dedicated art time where they can be creative. Then we have our Soaring High with Makerspace. This is Miss Jules' area here, where she gives our students the opportunity to be creative, but think critically, reflect on ideas, bring them to their teams, be innovating and design new outside of the box projects on a weekly basis. We provide the materials and we let the students create their masterpieces. Just like creating these robots using paper towel rolls and Play-Doh. And they were showing them off to us, and they took them home. So if you have them at home, they made these robots for you. And persevering relentlessly. This is an understatement. If you haven't seen students persevere relentlessly at PE, this is just what our students do. Our structured PE lessons led by Mr. Paul and Miss Brittany are designed for fun, organized PE games. They challenge our students to achieve personal success, whether it's their personal best time running a lap or a mile, or just winning and losing as a team. They continue to teach our students the value of staying resilient and never giving up, especially during those summer months when it was super hot and they were still having PE outside. And finally, our Soaring High through library. We had the opportunity to open up our library again this year. Students were so ecstatic to check out our books. Our librarian, Miss Bockert, along with her helper, Miss Brenda, bring the love of reading back to our students. The students learn continuously through their read alouds, their chapter books, and engaging dialogue, and they're encouraged to continue to learn and grow through each reading adventure that they choose. Mrs. Bockert and Miss Brenda, they have peer-to-peer reading groups with each other, and they also have read alouds where the students read to their peers. So you wonder, if all the students are at specials, what are the teachers doing? Where are they at? Well, my teachers are PLCing at Lindo Park. They're collaborating. They're working in a team. They're aligning all the standards and calibrating. They're looking at data. They're looking at student work. So I know that we're on Zoom, but I do have two teachers who they would like to share their experience of PLCing. So I would like to share that with you tonight. The first one is Mr. Tom Thompson. He is an RSP 4th and 5th grade teacher. And then after that is Sarah Sprecco. She is our 3rd grade teacher. So I hope these work.
Yeah. So PLCs, they've been great for our school. The first benefit, the kids love the specials that they get to do, the fun things and extra activities that they get to do that they missed a lot of over the last couple of years. So that's a highlight. The other part, the main purpose, of course, look at data, develop lesson planning and reteaching and who and when and how much. That's all great. But for me, I work with kids with special needs, and gosh, the ability to speak with teachers daily about my students. We talk about a lot of students individually. I think that's a real strength of what we're doing right now. We're able to discuss individual students, their needs, what's going on with them. And it really helps, I think, both behaviorally and definitely with academics. It's just an extra ability to plan and work together and feel connected with our team.
That was Mr. Tom Thompson sharing his appreciation for PLC and what it means to him. And the next one I have is Miss Sarah Sprecco, our 3rd grade teacher.
So I really enjoy the PLC time that we have each day, the 30 minutes that we get during specials. And the reason it's so important is because the teachers have the time to actually delve into the data even further than we do if we are doing a PLC on a regular Wednesday afternoon. We're able to look at maybe a writing assignment and see, wow, this teacher really did something excellent here. And then we're able to go to that teacher and say, what did you do? How did you teach that? so that we're actually making our practices even better as teachers, because we're getting ideas from each other and really seeing through the data what works and what doesn't. And so that is one area that really helps us to focus our everyday practices. And we also just get to dive into who needs what where do we need to put our focus right now. And so then we are able to really think, okay, what are some strategies we can use to get these kids to bump them up here in reading, or in this math area, we're struggling. What can we do to help these kids do even a better job?
And that's just a few of our teachers who talked about our PLC process. As we had the opportunity to bring in solution tree training last year and a few training sessions this year. And these are pictures of our teachers digging into our school data. These are our teachers looking at our student work and thinking about those 4 essential questions that I told you earlier. Is what do we want our students to learn? How will we know if they've learned the content? What will we do if they don't know the content? And what do we do if they already know it? So this is the rich dialogue conversations that they had. They discussed data and they discussed next steps and our goals for our students to be successful moving forward. Part of our PLC process is I created a staff digital notebook for them to locate their framework. In this notebook, every grade level has it. Every teacher has access to every grade level. In this notebook, it has their daily agenda minutes that they go over every day when they meet with their teams. It also has their curriculum framework in there. It has their standards. It has student data, so map data, any exit tickets that the students get from their teachers, any kind of student data that they want to enter, they can put it into this digital notebook. We have work samples that they can add in there. Lesson designs, maybe there's a unit that a teacher put in there that they're working on, they want to try. They add that into their digital notebooks, they can go back and look. And PD, so maybe they read an article or are attending a PD that they would like to share, so they add that into our digital notebook. Again, this is a daily thing with our teachers. They add their minutes, they add their conversations, they add their questions. Maybe, so this is something we want to go back and check later. This next picture here that you see is our reflex math chart. This is our recent data that we had pulled. As part of our math focus, we were working on our math fluency and to grow in our number sense and our operations. So we tried a new math program. It's called Reflex Math, and it's my 1st through 5th grade students are using it. And we've seen tremendous growth so far in our math goal. This data here is from November. We had 229 users and we grew 11,243 facts on an average of 49% of fact gain. And those are just some of a few data points that we use during our PLC time to help support our students in their academic success. But as of this week, we had a total of 237 students logging in and 16,268 fluency gains. That's over 68% fact gain at our school for just fluency and math facts, which is, to me, that's great that our students are using this program and teachers can see growth. Next up are supports for our Falcons. We have our Learning Academy teachers, Miss Susie Smith, Rochelle Rivers, and Brittany Casper. And then we have our intervention, our 4-5 intervention teacher, Miss Emily. They meet with our students daily to help close this learning gap that we, our students are seeing in these years. And here, of course, is some data for our Learning Academy. And the first little diagram that you see, we have our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grades who were enrolled in our Learning Academy. You can see that 24 1st graders, 30 2nd grade, and 20 3rd graders. But if you look in the next aisle over, you can see that we've already graduated 4 of our 1st graders, 8 of our 2nd graders, and 7 of our 3rd graders, which is a total of 19 students that were enrolled and are now out of our Learning Loss Academy In the big chart, the bar graph, you can see that this is our second grade growth level. So expected growth in second grade is about 3 to 4 levels. I do have to say that I am super proud that this year so far, 14 students have made 1 year's growth in just 3 months. So you ask if this is working? Yes, it is, and we have the data to prove it. Our Lindo Park experience, we're a family. We come together in the midst of all the uncertainty with COVID and the restrictions that we all have to make adjustments. Well, we did. We made adjustments to bring the joy and the smiles and the laughter and the life back into our school. We started off with the Lakeside Rodeo, where we drove down the streets of Lakeside, waving and smiling at our family and our friends representing Lindo Park Falcons. Then we had our Halloween festivities. This was one for the books. For myself, I enjoyed this the most. We had all of our students bring out their chairs with their costumes. They sat in a huge square and our kids walked around and did a Halloween costume parade. Then we were led by our 4th and our 5th graders by our teacher, Miss Patricia Smith, a 4th grade teacher, and she led them in a Halloween dance for all of our students on our campus. And the feel, the excitement, just the normalcy of school was back. We still had our Red Ribbon Week, and our most recent event was our Winter Wonderland drive-through, which was a huge success. Another Falcon highlight was that we had a book drive in the beginning of the year where we passed out over 200 books to our students. So our students had a book in hand in the beginning of the year. And we were able to pass out 60 backpacks to our students who were in need. My office crew, we called ourselves the Boo Crew. This was around Halloween where we had our shirts made. This team right here, no matter what, he has each other's back. We work hard. They go above and beyond on the call of duty for teachers, for our students, for our families at Lindo Park. This group of people here, these are our rock stars. And my wonderful Lindo Park team, all of my teachers right there. I'm super proud of them. They work hard, they stay late, they do what's best for our students at Lindo Park each and every day. So if you want to come and soar with us at Lindo Park Elementary, you are more than welcome to. Thank you so much for letting me share our wonderful school with you. If you have any, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Tessa. Does anyone have any questions? No? Thank you so much for presenting tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on to trustee reports. We will start with trustee LaChapa.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I don't really have anything to report. I just want to, thank everyone at all our school sites for just doing an amazing job and doing the best that we can to keep in-person learning. And I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks, and I just want to let everyone know that I really appreciate it and to thank everyone at all our school sites. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Ferrante.
Hi, I'm here now. I mean, I was here before, but just before the break, I had an opportunity to go out in my jammies to Eucalyptus Hills. And I had an amazing time with the kids, and they sang, and it was so fun. And Kelly gave me hot chocolate. And last week I had an opportunity to go out to LEAP and see what's happening there. I've tried not to do too many things these 2 weeks because of COVID, and I don't want to be out there in the way. So I want to thank the entire staff for everything they're doing, because I know this is a monumental task that they have been enduring for the last couple of weeks. And we can hope that it'll get a little bit better as soon as this surge is over. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Wiesman?
Am I muting? Am I muted?
You're good.
Hey, first I want to wish everybody a happy new year and look forward with gratitude to serving on the board in 2022. In that vein or that light, I kind of made a gratitude list and I wrote it down. So I might be a little verbose, but I just want to say that I'm really thankful for a lot of things. First, like Holly and Bonnie just said, I'd like to thank all the district staff, the administrators, the certificated, the teachers, and all the classified for keeping our schools open and providing safe learning environments for all students during these unprecedented times. I know the last 2 weeks have been crazy for everybody. In addition, I want to thank parents for entrusting the care of your kids to the district and trusting that we will do our best to keep learning engaging, safe, and in person. And seeing Lindo Park's presentation, you see what's going on in the gains that kids are making by being in school. A special thank you, I want to thank Rhonda, who is keeping the district for her leadership and keeping the district's focus on learning and supporting schools while juggling changes in her leadership team and addressing parental concerns brought on by the pandemic and their accompanying mandates that we have to deal with. I want to also put a sincere thank you to Dr. Kim Reed for her service in supporting teaching and learning during her tenure here as assistant superintendent. I wish her the best in the future. Another big thank you goes out to Todd, who I found out went on Sunday to pick up the COVID rapid test kits for our district so our kids can get tested to make sure that they're not having the COVID and can be safely in schools. I want to thank my fellow board members for their service. I'd like to thank really heartfelt thanks to Holly for her leadership as the past president of the board and her continued work on the board, and Bonnie, who I know has been on the board. How many years, Bonnie? 14. I mean, that's dedication and service, serving that many years on the board. I also want to congratulate and thanks to Stacy, Natalie, Lisa, Samantha, and Tiger as they assume new leadership roles in the district. I know these new beginnings will mean great things for the kids in our district. So I'm really appreciative of you willing to take on the challenge of a new role, especially at these crazy times. And now with over 550,000 COVID cases in our county, I looked at the data today, of which 109,000, almost 20%, are ages 0 to 19. And COVID's still surging. I want to sincerely thank all the district employees, parents, and students for following the science, because I was a science teacher, and practicing such safety measures as wearing masks, hand washing, social distancing, vaccinating, and boosting. These practices will truly keep our schools safer for all kids. I was the principal at Ben Franklin Elementary in San Diego Unified, and he said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that is so true. Finally, I'd like to applaud our district's decision in investing and installing state-of-the-art HVAC systems at all our schools, which will better circulate and filter the air in the classrooms and prevent the spread of contaminants and viruses like COVID in the future. We need to remember to stay calm, stay the course, and that this was hopefully too shall pass and we could concentrate on having fun, safe learning environments for kids. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, thank you to all of the staff and everyone who has stepped up these last 2 weeks. It has really been a roller coaster. And, it really shows that we are an all hands on deck team environment and really one big Lakeside family. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone And, it's been a joy to see everybody gather together and really work as a team in any capacity they can. So thank you. All right, so at this time, we have an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any items. We are going to limit those to 4 minutes per person. They are on Zoom tonight. So Lisa, do we have anybody speaking?
Yes, I'm going to pull in Mike Spadafino.
All right, Mike, when you're ready.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
We can, thank you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. My name is Mike Spadafino, and my children, Rory, 6, and Ryan, 5, attend schools in Lakeside. They love their friends, they love their teachers, and they love their schools run by outstanding administrators. And I have no sarcasm when I say that. My family would genuinely like to thank everyone involved in this call for making my children's joy possible. It is my firm assumption that all parties have kept our children's safety at the forefront of their minds for each decision throughout the COVID era. It is in light of that safety of the universal desire to prevent harm upon our children that I'm here today. It's clear after 2 years that children are extremely resilient to COVID. They are not resilient, as we've all been talking about, to missing in-person instruction, to which the negative implications to our children are especially clear, even in our most disadvantaged. I'm here to ask you, we need you, our leadership, to demand an end to some of the things, some hygiene theater. Stop separating kids when they're on the playground and end the mandatory masking for our kids. And while research shows that good masks, when worn correctly, can slow the spread of the coronavirus, I admit that and agree with that. It's silly to not acknowledge the increased touching of hands to face, repeated removal for snacks and drinks, as well as suggesting that they don't have any drawbacks. They're uncomfortable and a barrier to communication, and that's just for us adults. Our children are missing out on learning social development skills learned through nonverbal communications, such as smiles and frowns. We need you, our leadership, to demand from relevant authority a clear end game that delineates a clear pathway back to normality that acknowledges what we must accept. Number 1, that COVID is here to stay, unfortunately. Number 2, that our children are inherently resilient. 3, that our kids need to be in school with their awesome friends, their wonderful teachers and amazing administrators. And 4, that a child with no symptoms can return to class without the delays caused by waiting for a negative COVID test. Anecdotally, my kids have missed weeks upon weeks of school for having to stay home with the sniffles and then go get the test. And 5, that kids can play together outside without classroom segregation. Please know that I represent many parents who are overwhelmed, frustrated, and confused. And on behalf of those parents, please accept a heartfelt thank you for all that you do. Thank you for working to identify a clear timeline that acknowledges that COVID is here to stay, that our kids need to be in class, and that mass and extended periods of time out of school waiting for COVID tests is hindering critical development and growth. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Lisa, do we have any other speakers?
Next speaker is Nikki Ayer.
Nikki, when you're ready. Nikki, can you unmute yourself?
Mute.
Perfect.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. I've been to every one of these board meetings. I'm not gonna go through it all. You know how bad that most of these parents feel that this vaccination is. With the myocarditis and all the laundry list of things, we can go over those. And there was an article that just came out from LA, from the LA school district, that said 30,000 children would not attend the school. So they changed the vaccination date to 2022 or the next school year. So that has to show you that a lot of parents are very serious, and we are not going to allow our child to have this vaccination. So I just have a question. Where are we with all of it?
We can't make any comments, but if you'd like to continue speaking, we just can't answer.
Then I guess I'm done.
Thank you. Next speaker. That's it. All right, with no further speakers, we will move on to presentations. Our first presentation is by Dr. Rhonda Taylor on a district update.
Now I don't know what to do. Okay. Oh. Can you hear Siri too? I don't know. Okay, stop that, Siri. All right, so I'm just going to give us a few updates as to where we are right now with just everything that's going on in the district. So I want to talk about, as was mentioned, we have had several changes here in the district office with our cabinet and our team here, some people moving and some people retiring and just choosing to move on at this time. So we are doing a reorganization of our district office. And so I would like to take this opportunity to welcome again, Dr. Natalie Winspear to Interim Superintendent of Educational Services. And Stacy Arnold is taking the Interim Executive Director of Human Resources, and she's already begun that. And Samantha Orahood will start her position as Director of Finance upon board approval. And so right now, as a district office, we are working on pausing the Executive Director of Pupil Services position right now. And that is going to cause a reorganization of our special education department and our pupil services department. So we are working really hard as a team to decide how to best do that and still make sure that the school sites are feeling the support that they need to feel to be successful in those departments. We have our projects going on in the district, and I hope that those of you in the community have been able to see the development and growth of them over the last few months. So Lakeside Farms looks amazing and it's almost complete, and it should be done next month. And so I'm excited for us to be opening that building for them. That'll be a great complement to their school. It blends with the community nicely, and I just really, really love that building. The TDS gym will also be done in February. That is a huge room, a huge building. We've had a little trouble getting some of just the finishing touches done with our supply chain issues. I know we're all tired of hearing about supply chains, but it has been a reality during our construction phase. So hopefully that one will be done on time. And the NPR at TDS, that was a 2-phase project, the gym and the NPR is pretty much done. It looks really, really good. So if you haven't had a chance to get in there and see the color scheme and everything just really reflects the school nicely. Very, very nicely done. And so that one's pretty much done. It's got a couple of little finishing touches, but other than that, it's usable. Lindo Park just looked like a pile of dirt behind the green curtain for a long time, but you can really see some structure happening there. And it's supposed to be completed in March, and that's just right around the corner. So it's coming along really quickly. I love what they're doing at the lake across the street. So I just think that the lake being renovated and that new building is just going to add value to that whole area and for our community and our students. So we'll be having our dedication ceremonies pretty soon. We'll be scheduling those. And I just want to make sure that we invite our former board members, Twyla, Gila, Kevin Howe, and all of those who went out and knocked on doors and promoted that bond, and any, you know, the people that were involved in that, because it was the passing of those bonds that built these buildings. So we're really excited about opening them up and having a dedication ceremony. So as mentioned, rapid tests were supposed to come in a while ago, but they didn't. But however, they came in on Sunday, and it was a Sunday morning when I called Todd Owens, the maintenance director, and asked, you know, hey, can we go get these on Monday? Because I didn't want to ask anybody to work on a Sunday, right? And he said, are they there today? And I said, they're supposed to be there today. So he said, we're on our way down. So he took the truck and he went down and waited in a very long line. I'm glad he did, because we got not all of them, but we got some of our rapid tests. And so they are out on sites. The purpose, we're going to talk about those in a little bit, but I just wanted to do a big thank you to Todd. So shout out to Todd for going and picking those up. The intent of these tests were to test students before they came back to school from the winter break. However, that couldn't happen because they weren't there and they weren't available. So how we're using them is to try and shorten and keep our students safe by determining if a student is a close contact, rather than sending them home right away. They have to say, yes, you're going to get your test in 2 to 5 days, right? You have to do the modified, so you have to take the 2 tests. We can do a rapid test on the spot to make sure that as that child is in school waiting for the other test results, that they are negative and that they're safe to be at school. Same with our, you know, just using, we bought some of our own to use with staff. And so again, if they're a close contact, but having no symptoms and they're vaccinated, there's no reason for them to go home when we're having a really hard time manning our classrooms. We can do a rapid test. If it's negative, they can stay while they're following up with others. And so it's going to, I think, save our parents a lot of headache and save our staff, help us staff our classrooms a little bit more easily than we have been able to do in the past. And so that's how we're using them right now. And we're going through them quite quickly. We're giving them out with students and giving, you know, using them for our staff. And so I'm excited that we have that opportunity at this time. So, and again, I said we have ordered more tests to help with staff testing, and they're already here. So we've had those into play. So I want to end, or I want to talk about National Kindness Week. It's not next week, but the week after. And several of our sites have already sent me their plans for kindness. So I just really wanted to highlight some of the things that they're doing. Lakeside Farms has a pretty extensive plan going on. And I like it because, I like it because it accentuates kindness, and anytime that we can accentuate kindness, especially now, it's so important, and it teaches our kids such a great value. But they're also including the community. So they're doing notes for the sheriff's department and for the fire department, and having them drive through and have the kids giving the notes to them, and taking them to various community places, putting notes for our El Capitan staff, in their mailboxes and things like that. So they're including the community on this. I think that's a lot of fun. Mrs. Green sent me their brag board. This is just one of their activities that they're doing, but she sent me a picture of it. This will be into the staff lounge. And so they're bragging about certain students and their achievement, so that when the staff is in the lounge having lunch or whatever, their conversations are focused around these kids who have been successful, are showing remarkable growth, and just really being able to have really positive comments and conversations with these kids. So that's amazing. Yesterday, I was fortunate enough to spend the day at Tierra del Sol Middle School, as they are pretty short on administration staff now. So we're kind of taking turns tag teaming out there. And I just wanted to show you what they have going on every single day, not just because it's Kindness Week, but because of their inspiration and kindness is every single day and present. The first poster there says, "You are not any less important than the people you look up to. Happy New Year." And I thought, what an amazing message for our TikTok generation, right? And it's like, value yourself as much as you value those people. This was a great quote. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow too. In school, you're taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you're given a test that teaches you a lesson. And I just thought, what an inspirational message. And it made me really stop and think that right now, we are in the middle of a midterm exam, not even midterm. It's like an end of the year exam that is teaching us a huge lesson about how we relate to each other, how we can encourage each other, and what is important right now. Important is encouraging each other and staying true to the course of lifting our students. The last one that I took a picture of was trust yourself. You know you more than you think you do. And I just felt like these were such positive messages that the kids made to put up on the wall for their peers to see and be a part of. So I had to share those because I just loved how positive they were. And I'm not progressing anymore. So I just wanted to end on that very, very kind note. And again, I want to thank the staff. I know that our office staff has really, really struggled the last couple of weeks. They are on the front lines. They meet the public and parents are frustrated and sometimes not so kind to the office staff who has no control over the situation. They have to do what they're supposed to be doing, and they have to follow the guidelines that change almost hourly right now. So I'm just reminding, if you're out there in the community and you're upset in your inner office, please be kind to the office staff. They are just doing what they're supposed to do and the best that they can. And our office staff, we can't thank you enough for everything that you do for our students and for our families. And that is my presentation. Do we have any questions? All right, you're welcome.
All right, thank you, Rhonda. We will next have a presentation from Dr. Natalie Winspear and Stacey Arnold on our COVID updates.
Okay, can you hear me? Perfect. Okay. Okay, so you can see here on the screen, I have a picture of our COVID testing line. And I took this picture one day this week because we have had unprecedented lines of folks out front coming to get tested. And I just want to point out that one of the wins, I would call it, in this pandemic for us has been this testing site at our district office. This site has allowed us to do our best to stay on top of cases and respond in a timely manner. And our HR department has been managing this site all year, and they have been doing a great job managing that site and the data that comes from that site. And these last couple of weeks, there have been days where this line is wrapping around the corner of that building, and people are all the way lined up in front of the HR department's windows to be tested. So we are grateful that we've been able to provide that service for our community. So right now, these are our current active positive cases in the district. And when I say active, the way that we determine a case is active is that it is essentially in the case is still in the 10-day assumed contagious period. So that is what we are considering an active case. So these are not all the cases that we've experienced since returning from winter break, but these are the ones that are currently active. As Dr. Taylor was saying, you know, some of our active cases are dropping off, and we're able to return those staff and students to school. So right now we have 109 active student cases, 50 active staff cases, for a total of 159 active cases. But then I also wanted to point out that with those 159 active cases, we have about 528 associated close contacts. This is that same data broken down by site. You can see that we have several sites that are really feeling the impact pretty heavy right now, Lakeview being one of them, Lindo Park and Riverview. I also want to point out that we actually think we have more cases than, we actually know, I should say, that we have more active cases than the ones that are calculated here. We have been prioritizing parent outreach and contact tracing above data entry. So even yesterday afternoon, when we finalized the data entry for the day and our health office staff and our school office staff had to go home, we knew that there were additional positive cases in our Inspire system, which is the system coming from the testing that I just talked about out front. So again, we know we have more cases than what we're showing, but our data is lagging because, again, our office staff are inundated and our district office staff are inundated, and we're focused on serving the community first. I know we've talked about it already, but I can't say it enough that our office staff have been spending all of their time managing contact tracing, parent contacts, and data collection. Our principals, classified managers, and office staff have been the heroes of these last few weeks, working tirelessly every day, including weekends, managing this surge. So this is another view of the data. This is not current active cases. This is just a month-by-month count of the cases that we've had this year. And so clearly you can see, as I like to say, the surge is surging with 201 cases in just the first 12 days of January, 3 times the number we saw in December. And we're also seeing an unprecedented number of classroom closures, unfortunately. So these are the total list of about 21 classes that we've had to close in the first 9 days of school since returning from winter break. Prior to this month, a high month of class closures would have been about 5 or 6 class closures in a month. And so we're seeing 21 in the first 9 days of school. You can see that some of our younger students and our special day classes are more highly impacted by the closures. And that's mainly because our youngest students are not always compliant with mask wearing. And that's one of the questions that the decision tree asks us is, were masks being worn at the time of contact? So because so many students, for example, in a kindergarten class they're around each other, it's harder to distance with younger students. They're not wearing their masks perfectly. So there's so many close contacts, often in one kindergarten class, often the entire class is a close contact, that we've closed those classes and moved to distance learning for continuity of instruction. And I am going to hand it off to Stacy Arnold.
Thank you, Natalie. So as Natalie mentioned, we are very pleased to be able to offer to our community the opportunity to test with Inspire Diagnostics right here at the district office. As Natalie mentioned, there were several days where that line was around the corner of the building and I could actually wave to kids right outside of my window. You can see in this data, this is just pulled from the last 9 days since we've been back from winter break. Inspire Diagnostics here has tested over 1,200 community members, which is pretty significant. Of those 1,200 plus really, we've been able to identify 273 positive cases from that testing process. But I'd also like to note that many employees and students are also getting positive results, which are not reflected in this data, from at-home tests, which Department of Public Health is allowing us to use that for diagnostic purposes, as well as testing from their own private healthcare providers. So as Natalie mentioned, that number is actually higher than 273. Next slide. So what does the data represent that I'm going to share with you? The time span is just the first 9 days since we've been back from winter break. You will see data that reflects absences with employees, which include all COVID-related absences. So that could be an employee that tests positive for COVID, an employee who's quarantined as a result of having symptoms of COVID. It could be people who are have to be absent because they're quarantined due to having a close contact, or even employees who are required to provide childcare for their own personal children who are positive or symptomatic or close contacts themselves. In addition to that, the data also will reflect staff and employees who are absent as a result of personal necessities or other medical absences. That could be injury, it could be maternity related as well. And then you'll also see data reflecting the quantity of both certificated and classified staff that have required substitutes. And you'll see the percentage of unfilled vacancies that we've experienced as a result of this surge. So this chart exhibits the number of total cases for both certificated and classified staff. The classified staff is represented in gold at the top, certificated in blue at the bottom. So you can see that these are our daily numbers just in the last 9 days that we've been back after winter break. And you'll see that our numbers for both certificated and classified have remained fairly stable, but what's significant here is the sheer numbers that we're experiencing are not typical at all of this time of year. This slide is just really for historical context. This is the data that's represented from the first week of school. So these are the first 5 days of school back in August. You can see at the top the percentage of vacancies that were unfilled. And it also represents the total number of certificated absences. We're going to now compare that with the first week of school post winter break, and you can see that those numbers are significantly higher. At the top again is the percentage of unfilled vacancies that we had to address as a result of being short-staffed and not having enough substitutes to provide our classrooms and our certificated, both certificated and classified positions. You can also see that they're broken down by number between certificated and classified, and you'll notice that this last week on Thursday and Friday, we were hit particularly hard with 108 absences on both Thursday and Friday. And here we have week 2, that's this week, that's Monday through today. Again, very similar data. Today, we had 50% of our vacancies that we were unable to fill due to lack of staffing. So what does that mean for operations in our school district? First of all, as Natalie mentioned, we had several classrooms that we were forced to close, and that was either as a result of multiple positive cases in that classroom, and it was a necessity to close them just to keep our students and our staff safe. Those classrooms had to abruptly shift to distance learning. So kudos to our teachers who really were able to turn on a dime and ensure that our students didn't skip a beat in terms of quality instruction. Unfortunately, we also had staff members who had pre-scheduled professional development opportunities or team collaboration time. And those activities and events were forced to be put on hold for now because we needed them to cover classrooms. It continues to be a challenge just meeting the supply and demand. We have a national teacher shortage. It's not just something that we're experiencing here in Lakeside. It's a statewide challenge as well as a nationwide challenge. And finally, we had principals in classrooms every day of these last 2 weeks, covering classes, filling vacancies. We had district office administration covering campuses for principals who were out due to illness. We had our intervention teachers, unfortunately, canceling the groups of students that they work with to help us cover classrooms. We had RSP teachers who helped cover classrooms or provide some relief when they weren't working with groups. Our counselors have been in classrooms, and we even have a district nurse who has a teaching credential who volunteered to help us out by going to cover a classroom. So really just a shout out to our entire team who really thought very creatively to help us determine how to cover some of these vacancies to ensure that our kids were still able to stay in school and still able to receive that quality instruction that we come to be very proud of here in Lakeside. And I also want to give a shout out to our HR team, because we have spent many, many late nights and very early mornings just scrambling to deploy our resident subs to make sure that our sites who were most in need had the coverage that they needed. So we have our fingers and toes crossed that, there's an end in sight to this, and that there's relief coming when we can get these numbers under control. But for now, we will continue to work hard to make sure that our kids stay in school, and that we're covering those absences as best we can. Are there any questions for Natalie or I?
Anyone have any questions? No, I don't either. Just thank you guys for everything. All right, with that, we were going to hold a public hearing. We are going to hold a public hearing to receive input regarding the package proposal with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240 relating to the Juneteenth National Independence Day. Do we have any speakers? Lisa, do we have any speakers? No? Okay. With no speakers, we will now need an approval for the package proposal. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? All right. We are now going to, let me get to my notes real quick. We need a motion to designate items of business to the consent agenda. You have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? All right, and so now we need to approve the items on the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody wants to pull? No? Okay.
And I'll
Do we have a
second that.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Nobody has anything to pull? Okay, so now we need to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Okay. All right, so sorry, let's go ahead and vote that one again. All in favor of that?
Aye.
All right, none opposed. All right, so now we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as is. Unmute myself. We have a first reading of Board Exhibit 4112.9, 4212.9, 4312.9 on employee notifications. Are there any edits needed? No? Okay. We have a first reading of Board Policy 6153, school-sponsored trips. Any edits needed to that? No? Okay. We have a first reading of Board Bylaw 9012, Board Member Electronic Communications. I do have one edit to that. We need to change in the fourth row, the first and to two. So it reads to, the governing board recognizes that electronic communication is an efficient and convenient way for board members to expedite the exchange of information within the district and with members of the public. All right, with that, we will have an enrollment report.
Okay. The enrollment report for month ending December 17th shows we are 124 students down from the same reporting period as last year. I did pull this year's unofficial CBEDS report, which are, it's the first Wednesday in October that we do our CBEDS reporting. Our CBEDS report enrollment shows 4,515 students. And so for this enrollment period ending December 17th shows 4,553. So we are up 38 students.
Okay. We will now have reports to the board. First is going to be Carrie Strong with the LTA. Welcome, Carrie.
Hi, everybody. How are you tonight? Good to see you. I know you can't talk back right now because it's all weird on Zoom, but hi. I'm going to presume you're all saying we're fine, we're crazy, we're surviving, we're here, because that is kind of the answer that everybody who works in education has right now. And I think it's the best one we can give, right? We show up, we have that positive attitude, and like we've all been saying tonight, we come together, we make things happen because we have to for our students. And that's where your staff is, this month. And we've had a ton of shifts already in this school year. We're not even at the 100th day of school yet. I think if I did my math right, that's going to be February 1st. I should ask the kindergarten teacher. They probably have it memorized. But what that also means is that next week we're reaching that, like kind of that exact halfway point in our students' school year. And what that also means in reality is that many of our students and staff are on their second, third, fourth, or more round of COVID close contact notifications and quarantine situations. And each of those likely equals days lost being in school. And I just want to reiterate to you that your teachers understand and know firsthand the impact that that has on our students and their families. We also get it, that's the reality that we're working in right now. We're constantly adapting, right? And, there's new challenges every single day, and there's new challenges you couldn't even make up if you tried, right? You just, it hits you and you go, wow, I never would have written this down if I was going to try to even predict the future, right? And one thing is that we know with the new announcement regarding the Test to Stay program that Dr. Taylor kind of spoke to a little bit earlier tonight, that we do have the potential for keeping our non-symptomatic students in school. And we just really need that infrastructure in place and those systems in place to do so. So it's our hope that our district leaders and the contractors that we're partnering with are going to be able to build up those systems to accommodate that. The delivery of the rapid tests this week, thank you, Todd, for going out to pick those up, is absolutely going to help with that. And so we're looking forward to seeing what that starts to look like as we get those plans in place and how we're going to sustain that program so that we can keep those students who were a close contact but don't have symptoms and probably are negative in school rather than sending them home. My job, as you guys know, is president to highlight and represent our certificated staff, your classroom teachers, speech pathologists, adapted PE teachers, counselors, psychologists. But I have to give this week, I have to give a huge shout out, as everyone else had, to our classified union siblings. They have been sharing this load this week and all year really, but this week it's just been enormous with the amount of work that our office staff has had to do with all the close contact tracing and calling families, and our principals working on weekends to make all that happen. It's a huge amount of work. We see you. We know it's hard. We know it's not everyone's favorite thing to do, to pick up the phone and make that phone call to those parents who are so dreading it. But thank you for doing it anyway. And thank you for trying to keep our classes open as best as possible and really only closing them when there's just really no other safe option. That's what we've seen in our schools going on. That we are trying to keep our kids in school as best as we can, and we couldn't do our jobs working with the students without all of that support, and it's just been amazing. The other weird part about COVID that I've had the conversation with people is that while we keep getting all these waves of COVID crashing down on us, we still have all these regular non-COVID obligations going on that we still have to do to keep our district functioning and moving forward. And, in that category falls our bargaining. And it's only January. Some of our surrounding districts are beginning to wrap up their bargaining for this current school year. Some wrap that up in the fall even. And I just really want to encourage you as a school board to empower your team, as LTA Executive Board has empowered our bargaining team, to wrap this up sooner rather than later. We have a lot of important things to work on, and we think that there's a lot of things that we agree on and can come together on. And I think that, you know, in the next coming meetings that they're going to have, I really would love to see our teams being able to start to come to more agreements than what they kind of already are on. And, you know, that's just my encouragement for you as a school board when you're talking with your bargaining team as well. And that's what I'm doing when I'm talking with mine. Other than that, I don't have any big reports for you right now. I would love to, I've been trying to meet with each of you kind of one a month. So I'd like to continue being able to have those conversations and get those going. And of course, you are always free to reach out to me at any time. And I think that's all I have for you tonight. I'm gonna hand it off to David Myers.
Great. Thank you, Carrie. All right, we'll next hear from David Myers with the CSEA. David is not on. Okay. Well, we will move on to hearing from Lisa Davis.
Hey, just to keep on the same thing, I really want to thank Todd Owens for him and his team, everything that they've been doing to get the tests and keep everything clean and moving. Amanda Thomas in the child nutrition department the day before we went out on winter break, and there was a lot of staff who were out there helping, but serving all those meals to families in need. And it truly was a team and family effort. People were really just jumping in and all hands on deck, and it was actually pretty fun. And then Brian, it was fun. Brian Bicycle for, you know, keeping our technology, and Andrew and the rest of the team for keeping everything up and running. Totally appreciate it. This has been a real struggle these last few weeks coming back from break. On the business services side, you know, we did lose Shannon. Welcoming Samantha into the role of director of finance. We still have another empty position that we'll need to fill from Samantha moving. And but we're plugging along. Everybody's working together, and you know, this is a great district to work for because people truly do pull together and work through and understand when you're short-staffed and issues are going on. The governor came out with his budget proposal on Monday. And so just a reminder that the budget proposal is just that actually starts the legislature and the governor in negotiating what his proposal is. So the next few months, it'll be interesting to see what the changes, if any, are to his proposal. So there's a lot of what ifs out there, devil in the details. You know, some of his proposals out there, there's not the detail behind it yet. So I'm sure they're leaving that up to the legislature so that they can start bargaining some of that language. So I'll keep the board updated and the superintendent updated on anything that I hear as things progress. So it should be pretty interesting for 22-23. And you know, we will be hearing the May revise. That's when the legislature will come out and pretty much not quite solidify his proposal, because that's when the governor actually adopts the state budget in June, July. But I'm curious to see, we're seeing some one-time dollars again for next year. That's in the proposal, so that's good news, and a lot around addressing health and safety and COVID testing. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next hear from Dr. Natalie Winspear from Ed Services.
Thank you. So we've spent a lot of time at the meeting this evening discussing the just huge impact of COVID. But I want to add that I was on Tierra del Sol's campus today, and out in the hallways, in classrooms during passing period. And as much as the impact is absolutely real, you see the numbers, we know that this is happening and that people are responding the very best that they can. I feel like from our students' perspective, they're still having an amazing experience in school every day. That is what I saw today on a school campus. And I think that's because every single employee in our system is showing up when they can and making sure that they're, trying to stay healthy so that they can show up at work every day and be here for our students. So I just want to commend everyone. It's going to take too long to talk about every single group of employees, but I know that everyone on campus is putting extreme effort into welcoming students each day and offering them stability and engagement in the face of this surge. And from putting myself in the shoes of a student, it feels like school. They're there, they're with their peers, they're having fun, they're still learning, there's still instruction happening. So I just want to shout out to everyone in our system who is making this happen for our students and our community. So with regard to Ed Services, we are working on a lot of things. Our district-wide PD Day is tomorrow, and we are really excited about the lineup of professional development for our certificated and credentialed staff. Our keynote will be really fun in the morning. We're bringing back Mark Schumacher, who some of you may have heard speak a few years ago when he was here. And it's going to be a joyful session full of fun and laughter. So I really hope you all can make it for that. At least start your morning with some fun and some laughter. And I also want to thank Stephanie Jakes and the Ed Services team for working really, really hard for the last month or two to put this day together. All the work happens before the big day, behind the scenes. Currently, we are in the midst of our mid-year screening for the MAPS, the Student Risk Screening Scale, and DIBELS. So that is happening and open on our school sites currently. We are also working on updating the LCAP, and we're going to be bringing you a mid-year update next month. We did make the difficult decision to hit the pause button on some of our alignment and calibration work with the recent surge in cases and the related staffing challenges. We felt that pausing was the best option at this time, but we absolutely intend to revisit that work once our system is kind of back up and running at full capacity. We also I just want to give you a heads up that we are planning to do our gate testing in February. However, we may have to push that back due to some technical issues with the testing platform that we're using, as well as staffing shortages in Ed Services related to COVID. So right now, all of our resources are dedicated to keeping schools open, as you've heard loud and clear this evening. So we are going to be making decisions on a case-by-case, day-by-day basis for where we are with that. We also have DAC and DLAC meetings being held later this month, and we will present some of our mid-year data to these teams and get their input. And then we are also already thinking about Summer Academy and planning to offer another fun and academically intensive summer program to students who demonstrate a need for academic intervention. So Kelly Gilbert and her team already have their thinking caps on, and they're working on planning another awesome Summer Academy. The Pupil Services Department is also very busy. Our principals are currently finalizing their comprehensive school safety plans, which we will also be bringing to you next month for approval. This month, our sites and departments are engaging in our Run, Hide, Fight active shooter training. We're getting back to an every other year training cycle on that. Last year was just a weird year. That was supposed to be our training year. We didn't do that last year. We only had 50% of our kids on campus. So we are back up and running with that training cycle. Special education is also starting to plan our extended school year program, and we are looking for ways to integrate ESY and Summer Academy if that's at all possible. We are also, in special education, we're also continuing our productive struggle with making up overdue assessments and IEPs that occurred as a result of our COVID closures last year. We are making significant progress, and staff are working long hours and very hard to get these overdue meetings and assessments completed. However, it has been a really big strain on our system, and we are continuing to look for creative ways to address this ongoing issue. And I just want to shout out to our special ed staff, because they're trying to keep up with what's current, and they're also still trying to make up what's behind, and they're working long hours, but unfortunately you just can't create more hours in a day, and people do have to sleep. So we continue to be working on that. And then we also have just recently been awarded a small grant in partnership with the San Diego County Office of Education to build the capacity of our school district to support our community and champion mental wellness. So that grant is not a whole lot of money. It's about $60,000 to be used over 4 years. Patty will be leading this work, but at this point, when it comes to mental health and wellness, every little bit counts. And we're committed to finding as many resources as we can to support the mental health of our students and our community. And lastly, I want to thank the board for approving the contract with Noom tonight. Noom is a healthy lifestyle wellness app that we are really excited that we are going to be able to make available to all of our staff members, including our board members, if you're interested, at no cost to them with this contract. I personally have been using Noom for about 10 months and have experienced so many positive physical and mental health results. So I am just super excited to get to share it with everyone. It just so happens that our behavior specialist, Wands, is a close friend of the inventor and CEO of Noom, and she was able to help us negotiate a great deal, the great deal that we got, so that every employee in the district will have access to this program for a year. So the rollout of the app will come out of the District Wellness Committee, which is led by Amanda Thomas and includes Carrie Witzke, myself, and Stacy Arnold will also be joining that committee, as well as many other people. We're looking to expand that wellness committee. So if any of you are interested in being on the wellness committee, we would love to have you. And one of our goals this year is to really focus on the wellness of students, staff, and our entire community. So I'm really excited about that work.
Thank you, Natalie. All right, we'll now hear from Dr. Rhonda Taylor.
Well, you've heard from me already, so I don't want to prolong it a whole lot. Just again, really excited about the Noom, and I just want to reiterate that that is for every employee in the district. And I think it would be fun to have those conversations together about what we're learning and discovering about ourselves as we use that app to get fit and healthy. So I'm excited about that. And I thank Natalie and everybody for researching that and putting that together. I know that Lisa worked hard on that too. So thanks so much for doing that for our employees. And I just, last but not least, so there's so many people to just thank and encourage as we're moving forward. You can't do it enough. We can't sit enough, but I do want to thank the board. This has not been an easy time either. And I know you fielded a lot of questions from the community and a lot of frustrations from the community. And I appreciate when you bring those to us so that we can reach out to those people and hopefully get some resolution to some of the thoughts and feelings that are out there. So I know that I've spoken to many of our parents on the phone and through email, and I don't ever want anyone to think that they're bothering me if we're having those conversations, because it's important to me that our community also feels very much like they can ask questions and be supported. And sometimes coming and speaking at a board meeting it's not a two-way conversation. And so we need to allow times to have those conversations as well. So just thank you for your support and all of the changes that we've had, and know that it's a team, and I'm just encouraging our staff and everybody. We're moving in a positive direction. We're making some really good changes that I think are going to be in great support of our staff and students, and it's going to take a team. So don't be afraid to join that team. All right, that's it from me.
Thank you. Is there any other business? No? All right, with that, we will adjourn the meeting.